What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Wheel Skeleton 69 here, and today we are going to be ranking every single boss in Dark Souls 1 from my least favorite to my favorite. Mega disclaimer right off the bat, this is not a difficulty ranking, this is not a objective ranking, this is how much do me, Mr. Knight, like the boss from lore, gameplay, aesthetic, everything. Just how much fun do I have with the boss? That's all I'm ranking. There's no difficulty, there's no nothing. It's just, do I like it, yes or no? And that's really all there is to it. So I mean, without further ado, let's not waste any time and jump right into what I think is the worst boss in Dark Souls 1. To absolutely nobody's surprise, in last place we have the Bed of Chaos. Now I want to keep these a bit brief since we have a lot to get through, but the ones at the bottom I have a special hatred toward, so we gotta rant a little bit. But to be fair, there's not much I can say about the Bed of Chaos that hasn't already been said. These trees are sweeping me into their holes. It's like tryptophobia with how much holes I'm being swept into. The Witch of Izalith got demoted to a little bug that I one-tap slam with my Black Knight greatsword, and the boss just isn't fun. The run-up is trash, the area is trash, the mechanic of hit two little doohickeys is trash, and parkouring in Souls games, a tried and true, time-tested, terrible idea. So yeah, you know, last place, Bed of Chaos, really no surprise there. Next up, we're going to go rapid fire through a little bit since these bosses are all either boring, annoying, or a mix of both, so I thought I'd just rush through them a bit, so eventually we can spend some more time glazing the goats, you know what I mean? So coming in next is Centipede Demon. Absolutely terrible idea. Again, Izalith never fails to disappoint me. It's a giant monster that's in lava that you can't reach for half the battle, and it just takes pot shots at you and laughs. Yeah, this boss is terrible, never should have been in the game in the first place. Disgusting. Coming up next, we have the Moonlight Butterfly, the snore fest of all bosses. If you're a mage, you'll one-shot this and never look back. If you're melee, you know the pain, bro. Oh my god, stop firing spells at me, fam. Just come here. This boss is not it. Super boring. Not a fan. Next up, we have Dark Sun Gwendolyn. This boss is so bad for so many reasons, and it kind of sucks because Gwendolyn's pretty cool lore-wise, but other than that, like, one, I have to kill the mega baddie to even get to you, so, you know, that's disappointing. And then he just, like, spell spams. He's, like, one of the first true caster bosses, which is kind of cool, but even, like, the other form of him later in Dark Souls 3, Aldrich, does it so much better, and, like, no, Gwendolyn is so boring, so annoying, and then he TPs away from you, so if you're using, like, a greatsword or something, it's like, oh my god, this guy, Gwendolyn, absolutely not it, bro. Then we have everyone's least favorite Capra Demon. I don't think this boss is as bad as people say it is, but like, it's not a good boss. Like, you run up the stairs, you kill the doggies, and then it's like a slow demon you fought a billion times before. Like, even on my first ever playthrough, it really didn't take that much for this boss to be killed, and it's just, again, kind of annoying. So yeah, we have Capra Demon here. Next up on the list, we have Demon Fire Sage. It is the third reskin of the tutorial boss, and it keeps stray demons shitty little AoEs that are super annoying. Yeah, I mean, it's a reskin of a reskin that keeps the annoying mechanics, and like, I mean, it's terrible, bro. Izalith, you know, nothing else needs to be said. Then, fittingly following Fire Sage, we have Stray Demon himself. Unironically, this is one of the hardest bosses in the game for me. This guy is a demon, bro. These huge AoEs in this small little area. I don't know why. So if I ever make a difficulty rankings for these games, Stray Demon's going up there. But again, it's just another tutorial boss. Like, Stray Demon gets some points because it's really cool that when you first spawn in, you can look and you can see him, and then most people, if they do see him, they kind of assume it's a silent demon, but it's not, and you come back later and boom, and you go through the floor, right? It's pretty cool. But like, as a boss, nah, this guy sucks ass, bro. Absolutely not. Then coming in next on the list, we have Ceaseless Discharge. This boss, again, following in like the annoying or like boring fight. Like, you can beat this fight by running in a straight line, first of all. Izalith fight, bottom text. And like the actual fight, I mean, like, you roll his big AoE and then you slap his hand a couple times. Woo! Like, there's really nothing to it. Terrible boss. I mean, I guess not terrible, but like uninspired Izalith boss. You know the drill at this point. And then the last boss I want to speed through real quick is Taurus Demon. It's not bad, and the bridge is probably the coolest part. And you learn to watch your surroundings with little archers. I get it, but I mean, it's Taurus Demon, bro. You roll a couple times, you throw on some pine resin, bada bing, bada boom, Mr. Worldwide as I step in the room, and then you never think of Taurus Demon again. Nah, not really the most exciting boss, so he comes in around the lower half of the list. Next up, we're going to be going over what I consider like the mid-tier bosses. Everything under this was kind of unenjoyable for me. Now we're going to talk about the guys somewhere around the middle, starting off with Pinwheel. Pinwheel is an interesting one because, this guy gets the reputation as the easiest boss in the game, and like, yeah, but one, if you come here early to get the Rite of Kindling, it is kind of fun, but like most importantly, the mechanic with like the 3 different possible mask drops, actually really cool and kind of interesting, and his lore's kind of messed up, by the way, but like the mask drop mechanic, I really like that, honestly, and it was pretty cool to roll one my first time. I think I got Mask of the Father, which my friend then informed me was a meme. The good old days, but like Pinwheel's cool, bro. You can dislike Pinwheel. He's kind of a goober, and he's a funny guy. Not the most, like, mechanically depth fight. The clones were cool, but like I can't put him any higher, but like I don't dislike Pinwheel. You know what I mean? Coming up next, we have the Gaping Dragon, and this is probably one of my most like least fought bosses in the game. I skip depths literally every single chance I get, so I have like a total of like maybe 5 fights with this boss lifetime, which I mean, like, he's okay. I'm fine with absolutely everything this boss has to offer, except like the walk forward really aggressively on all fours move. That hitbox is not balanced, but I mean, like, other than that, like, I mean, he's all right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a sucker for dragons, and like even then, like, I can't give him that much credit. Opening cutscene was baller the first time I saw that. I loved that, but I mean, Gaping Dragon, pretty middle of the pack boss. Coming up, we have our first DLC boss, and now spoiler alert, this one's a little lower than the other ones, but we have Sanctuary Guardian. Now the arena is kind of nice, pretty. I enjoy it. The like Chimera-esque boss, sure, I'll take it. Moveset wise, I mean, he's kind of annoying. He shoots lightning at you, that can be a little and I mean, other than that, you just hit him, like it's nothing crazy unique. He's cool, but he's not cool enough or like special enough like to be anything higher. Like the opening boss of the DLC, sure, but I mean, that's really all he is. He's just like a baseline to test if you're kind of ready for what's to come, and I mean, he's another pretty middle of the pack boss, right? Coming up next, we have the Bell Gargoyles. This was a lot of people's first wall in Dark Souls. Mine personally was Quelaag. So this boss, I never really had like that demon frustration that a lot of people had with it, and I don't know if that makes it better or worse in my eyes, but Gargoyles is okay. It's a gank that doesn't really irritate me that much, which is really good because Dark Souls ganks are really rough, but Gargoyles is chill. There's a tail cut, which was an insanely cool mechanic. The first time, like, for me, Dark Souls 1 was my first game, so the first like gank boss ever, and another one drops in and you're like, wait a minute here, what is going on? That was really cool, but I never really had that much of a connection to the Bell Gargoyles. Always just kind of like, killed them and moved on, rang my bell, and then we're out of here. But like they're cool enough to be here, and their mechanics are unique enough from the rest of the Dark Souls 1, especially for that time. There weren't that many great ganks. There's another one we'll get to, obviously, but I mean, for the first gank fight I've ever played against and like a pretty intro boss in Dark Souls 1, not too bad. Coming up next, we have the tutorial boss of the game, my boy, the Asylum Demon, the first Souls boss I've ever killed. I have a soft spot for Asylum because I actually think he is one of the best tutorial bosses the series has. I think Gundyr has him beat out just because, like, he's Gundyr. But other than that, like, Asylum Demon teaches you how to fight all of these big demon fights, which you'll see a lot of in Dark Souls 1 specifically. You go around, you start smacking his butt, boom, 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 and he can't touch you, and it's a great time. And Asylum Demon's what teaches you that. It gets you that cool plunging attack start where you fucking right into his dome, and then it's such a good feeling. And then for me, it's always going to be special because it was, first boss ever conquered. It was that first little dopamine rush into my veins of, oh my god, I must conquer my foes. The bosses will fall. So, I mean, I love him for that. And I mean, he's a good tutorial boss. If my friends are starting Dark Souls 1, they're not going to be too angry at a silent demon. And I think he does his job splendidly, earning him a middle of the pack ranking for me. Next up on the list, we have baby girl Priscilla, and she was actually originally a lot lower on this list until I replayed remastered for footage. Priscilla, I don't like fighting her. I've only fought her literally the first time I played, and now for footage, this is another one of my least fought bosses, because I don't like killing Priscilla, bro. She's chill, and she's trying to, get you out of her world safely, or, move along. I don't really like fighting her, but the boss fight itself is here. It's for how unique it is. An invisible boss that you track in snowy footsteps? Fuck yeah, bro, that sounds cool. In practice, it's kind of annoying, but Priscilla also has a tail cut, and it's a really cool one too, and it's the lore related to Seath, and I mean, overall, Priscilla's a cool character, interesting area. I'm not gonna say amazing area, because Ariamis and me have some slights, but I mean, very unique boss, not my absolute favorite, but really cool nonetheless, earning her, again, a kind of middle of the road ranking. And next up on the list, we have Seath the Scaleless, the traitor dragon. This guy and the guy above him, I kind of swapped around a bunch in the making of this video, but I think Seath goes right about here. I have a couple good things and a couple bad things. The fake out fight with him is cool the first time and stupidly annoying every other time, so we don't really talk about that. The clams on the run up to this fight, dear god, please stop abusing me. The actual fight itself is kind of just like I always forget, like the crystal's even a mechanic. It just slips my mind because of how irrelevant it is. But you run to the back of the arena, you hit a big glowy thing, and then he's just kind of a damage sponge that you on God, half the time this fight you're just out heal and mash R1 and he eventually dies. He's really just a damage ball that shoots curse, which is it's a kind of a slight on any boss that uses curse is immediately a no-go, but specifically in Dark Souls 1 because curse just takes half your health for some reason. Seath can do that, by the way. That was the first time I got cursed in Dark Souls 1 and was very alarmed that boss could do that. But Seath does get points because he gives me my beloved Moonlight Greatsword in this game. God damn, that is the coolest tail cut by far. The four-tail bow, and you get the Moonlight Greatsword, and you get the magic because he's the magic guy, the Duke, and it's kind of nice. The arena is very pretty, but I mean, he's still kind of middle of the road, bro. He's just a big damage sponge dragon. Lore gets him a lot of points. Style gets him a lot of points. Moonlight Greatsword, I'm gonna be honest, gives him the most points, but I still don't think I can put him any higher than this, but not a bad boss nonetheless. Next up on the list, we have Iron Golem, who I eventually decided I wanted above Seath, just because this boss is kind of cool, bro. Toppling a giant off a huge fortress you just climbed, that's fucking sick, bro. He starts the fight with this crazy aura wind blast that he almost never uses again. I really like a stray demon in Dark Souls 3 has the same mechanic where he can pick you up and just throw you off the map. I love when they give that to bosses. It looks so cool, even if it's annoying when it happens. Just seeing this giant pick you up and chuck you off the fortress you just climbed is so cool. And with Iron Giant specifically nipping away at his heels in the attempt to just make him tumble over, it's such a David Goliath moment. It's not the hardest fight, and it's the entrance to Anor Londo, which is amazing, but it's just really cool, bro. And Sen's Fortress was a decent area, so coming into the top of the fortress where there's giants throwing stuff at you, and then there's one giant cladded in armor in the middle. It's pretty cool, bro. I fuck with Iron Giant. Not too bad. Or Iron Giant. Iron Golem. Not a bad guy. Also comes in around the middle of the pack. And finally, wrapping up our mid-tier bosses, we have Grave Lord Nito, my skelly boy. I want to put Nito higher, but his boss fight, the second half of Dark Souls 1, sadly, just isn't really finished. Nito isn't very interactive. He swings at you, he uses the one nutshot move, and then he summons skellies and eventually AoEs them for you. It's kind of weird. Nito, again, gets points for lore. Lore is really cool. And the fact that you can actually sneak into his boss arena early and join his like Grave Lord Covenant, it's so cool. And I do it every time for the Grave Lord sword. His sword is really cool too. That's another plus for him. But the actual fight itself, random aside, you're forced to take like half your health and fall damage when entering this fight. Don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I mean, that's a thing you have to do. You walk through the fog door and just plummet for some reason. But I mean, Nito himself, he's kind of an oriful skelly guy. Admittedly, I do just like skelly guys, and he's a lot of skellies, but like summon skeleton, hit, he explodes. You just stick to him like glue, and like I wanted a pinnacle boss, bro. And he's just kind of like a auto attack spammer that summons skeletons. It's not the coolest thing it could have been, but I do still enjoy the fight and enough to give Nito his respects at the top of my mid tier. Now entering my top tier and what I think are the best bosses in Dark Souls 1. Starting us off at number 8, we have my first true wall in a Souls game, Chaos Witch Quelaag. Damn, I love this fight. So this was, again, as I said, the first time I really got stuck. I came here, I had good damage, but I didn't know that at the time. I died like 3 times, and then my friend who was watching me play, I went like, hey man, what am I doing wrong? Like, well, how am I supposed to do this? And he went, hey buddy, it's now time. What you're doing wrong, your skill, get good. And that was the first time I was like, damn, I really just gotta lock in, huh? And then when I did, it felt amazing, and that's kind of why Quelaag is up here. It was like the first big, like, yes, I beat this boss moment for me. And that, you know, we like those. We chase those moments, and Quelaag embodies that for me because it was the first time I really got stuck. And I mean, even that aside, the fight for Dark Souls 1 standards is pretty cool. She has a big AoE you have to avoid. She has a couple fiery slashes with her hand that you can kind of hug one side and get around it, a little cheeky. But I mean, one of her boss weapons, she has the Chaos Witch, or what is it, the Quelaag's Fury Sword. That thing is cool. It's like a fire blade. This boss is pretty baller, and it is blocking one of your main points of interest, being the other bell. And also she has some really nice lore with, like, you know, she's defending her like dying sister behind her that has a covenant. I don't know why we couldn't have just talked this out, Quelaag, but like, yeah, I mean, pretty cool boss mechanically, pretty cool boss like thematically as well. And I think it is the first boss that the gameplay is smooth enough that I give it a high tier rating, and Quelaag comes in right at number 8. Coming in now at number 7, we have the saddest fight in the Souls series and everyone's favorite puppy, the Great Grey Wolf Sif. Damn, Sif is a really cool fight, bro. Just like having to weed through this forest with like Artorias' crest, and it's like, oh, what is like so sealed deep within here? And then you find out it's a huge wolf guarding its master's grave. Actually, such cool storytelling. Thematically, Sif is beautiful, and of course lore-wise, everyone knows the lore for Sith. For those who really don't, Artorias the goat had a pet wolf, and then when he died, the wolf eats his sword, puts the sword in its mouth to defend its master's grave, because he doesn't want anyone else to succumb to the abyss, bro. It's a good puppy, but sadly, I need the ring, Sif, so you have to get out of my way, you know what I mean? Crazy. The fight, combat-wise, isn't too insane. I'd actually argue it's a little obnoxious. Sif tends to run away quite frequently, but I mean, other than that, the spinnies are kind of cool to dodge. The double spinny is hard at first, but then once you get it down, you know, you feel like a goat. And I mean, you know, when it starts limping, when it's low health, and oh, you have to put the puppy out of its misery for the greater good. It's sad. Also, cool detail for those of you who don't know, if you find Sif in the DLC before you do this boss fight, Sif will actually remember you, sniff you, and then be like sad puppy eyes as it goes to grab the sword. It's so cute and like it's heartbreaking. But Sif, I can't put it any higher because the actual fight isn't as engaging or mechanically depth as the guys above, but the lore fight, the sad fight, and IMO, the thematically amazing fight, comes in at number 7. Next up, and right outside the top 5, we have the Four Kings. And this boss was originally at the number 5 spot, but it just fell short to the person above it. And that is not to slight the Four Kings at all. I think this boss is amazing, and and easily the best thing to come out of the second half of Dark Souls 1 outside of the DLC. So the Four Kings is already, it's in my favorite area of the endgame 4, being New Londo, and then you take the ring you got from Sif that you had to kill the poor puppy for, and then you drop down into a fully black area, which I know was really just to like save budget and time. They really just didn't load in anything and called it the Abyss. But it's like you drop into this full black area and then boom, guys start spawning in. The Four Kings, who are these guys? And like the fight itself is actually just kind of like a DPS race, sure, but I think it makes up for it in uniqueness and style. The Four Kings look really cool. They're like one of the only bosses that have like a defeat cutscene for some reason, but it's nice and it's pretty. And I mean, just fighting these four ancient kings in the Abyss feels so cool. And I really like the mechanic of if you're not aggressive enough and if your damage is too low, then they can kind of overwhelm you. And I mean, vice versa, if your damage is high, it can be the Two Kings. Really weird and quirky boss fight. And I just think it's one of the like best like mechanically in Dark Souls 1. The big purple AoE, the slashes, it feels like it's slowly becoming that more traditional Dark Souls knight fight. And I mean, it's a kind of a gank done well as well. A gank done well as well. But it's also another kind of successful gank fight, which is something I always celebrate. And I mean, yeah, the Four Kings are just really cool, super underrated in my opinion, and they come in at number 6. And now, finally breaking into the top 5, we start off with Manus, Father of the Abyss. There we go, we get to the DLC, and the DLC is the tippity top of Dark Souls 1 in my opinion, and Manus is no exception. See, I was going between him and Four Kings of which fight I liked more, but Manus's Abyss is actually textured, so I mean, that's pretty cool. You know, you can actually like see rocks and like humanity sprites and stuff, and there's like corrupting the world around it, and it's a really cool thematic to Manus. Like you start off in this super pretty Udacil, and then you see some of the corruption, and you go down the elevator and it's a lot of corruption, and then straight into the chasm of the Abyss, and you see all the humanities, and then he pulls you down into the arena. It's so cool. And the fight with Manus itself, a lot of people say it's the hardest fight in Dark Souls 1, and I think I'm inclined to agree. When he pulls up with that combo and he hits you with the fucking doom and he slams you into the floor, yeah, no, that one, Manus is an aggressive fight, and it will really test if you know when to heal. But I mean, his lore, Furtive Pygmy, crazy. His arena, nothing insane, but like it's thematically cool. And I mean, Manus is just the big, difficult lore battle at the end of the DLC. Like, how much more can I say about him? Like, if you like challenge, you'll like this fight. If you're into the lore, you'll like this fight. And I mean, for me, there are other ones above him just do it a little bit better. But Manus, always a fun time. Getting the like don't dark spell me pendant is probably the only annoying part of this fight, but other than that, thrilling battle from beginning to end, and he comes in at number 5. Now coming in at number 4, we have Gwyn, the first Lord of Cinder. So remember when I said that Four Kings was kind of the peak of the second half of the game? Yeah, that's true, with one exception being the final boss himself, Gwyn. This fight is so fucking cool, bro. The first guy, the guy you've been hearing about this whole time, the Slayer of Ancient Dragons, the Linker of the Fire, the creator of this age of the world, you see him as like a burnt husk, just defending his creation. And if you don't instantly go over the parry tech, bro, this is a fun fight. He is aggressive. This guy starts running you down with the swing, left, right, fire, stab, grab you, drop kick you. Like, this guy is going in this fight. And for me, I mean, Dark Souls 1 was my first Souls game. Obviously, the end of that journey, the I actually did it boss, was going to be awesome, and it does hold a special place for that. Watching, it was a nice summer day, and watching Gwyn do that death animation where like he throws his arms to the side, and then I walked off into the distance to become the Dark Lord. Oh my god, Dark Souls 1, what a beautiful game. And Gwyn is really the embodiment of that. Again, if you're a lore fan, this fight obviously has the most significance in the game, being himself Mr. Gwynevin. And combat-wise, yeah, sure, you can just spam parry him a bunch and then he insta-dies. And it's kind of unfortunate, especially like speed runs where like they get to the end and they just go boop, parry, Hornet Ring, you're dead, bye-bye. But other than that, like if you fight Gwyn normally, it's super sick. And I mean, it's the end to Dark Souls 1. That's a big weight to have on your shoulders. And I think Gwyn did it absolutely fine. The first Lord of Cinder, of course, the lore gets expanded. We get more Lord of Cinder, more guys. We understand the repercussions that making this fire and continuing to link it has. But then again, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I think Gwyn, amazing fight for me, comes in at number 4. And starting off, the top 3 bosses in Dark Souls 1 for me is Black Dragon Kalameet. I love dragons, and this fight is baller. You first have to go to Mr. Hawkeye Go, and then he drop shots Kalameet out of the sky while being blind. And then he's like, okay, maybe you can take him now, little boy. And it's like, okay. And then you pull up on Kalameet, and he's still a demon, bro. The entire mechanic of he can grab you and apply calamity and you take double damage. I love that, and I hate that no other game has that sort of debuff. That is such a cool idea. And dropping the calamity ring that just makes the game harder because it gives you the debuff permanently. I don't know why, that's just so cool to me. And the fight itself, also really nice. Kalameet, in my opinion, and I know this is gonna blow some people's minds, within the first 3 Dark Souls games is my favorite dragon fight. I think Sin is the most overhyped fight in the world, and Midir, I hate to be that guy, kinda mid. Honestly, I don't like Midir at all, but I know a lot of people do, and that's a hot take. But even then, I think Kalameet was, until like Elden Ring, my favorite dragon fight. So super high respect to him. The fight is cool. He doesn't do too many of the annoying dragon tropes. He has like the one, I think like the one breathe fire on the floor move that everyone hates. But like other than that, bro, he's ducking and weaving with his neck, left, right, he's spitting black fire at you. And it's just a really cool battle because, you know, in Dark Souls 1 especially, there's not that many dragons left, which is low-key kind of cap later on. But in this fight, what you're told, he's like one of the only surviving dragons, and it's just a really, really cool battle. And man, I love Kalameet, bro. Of course, I'm a dragon sucker for dragons, but love Kalameet. For me, there's only 2 fights that can do it better, but Kalameet comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, and truly one of the greatest of all time, Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smo. ONS, Pikachu, and Snorlax, the golden duo. Probably one of, if not the best gang fight in the series. I can't really glaze more on S than they've already been glazed, but let's go over the basic things. The fight teaches you so many valuable lessons as a Souls player. It teaches you that you need to use your environment to your advantage with the pillars. It teaches you how to manage between 2 enemies that are doing different things. Of course, Ornstein trying to be super fast, rush you down. Smo, you can kind of ignore him, but if he gets close, boom, you're gonna slammed up like that. You can't be caught lacking. But this fight, oh my god, my first time playing, my friend said I would be stuck on this fight, and I mean, I believed them, but I didn't understand to what extent. If I didn't know you could like jump over a staircase to get to this fight a little faster, I would have lost my mind. The first time I did this fight, I was using, I think it was like Black Knight Greatsword, which nowadays I'm like, oh, that's so free, that weapon's broken. But back then I was just really slow and didn't know what I was doing. So this fight took a while, and of course, beating this fight, there is no feeling like it, bro. You finally take down the golden duo, you ascend up the elevator, and you're greeted with the best reward humanly possible. This fight is awesome, bro. You can pick one of their armors, like whichever one you kill second, you can then take their armor. So while killing Smo second, or like killing Big Smo is kind of easier than killing Big Ornstein. If you go to kill Big Ornstein, you can take his armor, and then you have the Ornstein armor for the rest of the game, and it's like, damn, I earned this. This fight is so cool. I can't really say more about it than no one else has said before, but absolutely, of course, I love ONS, and for me, they come in at at number 2. And of course, finally, my absolute favorite boss in Dark Souls 1, one of my favorite characters of all time, my absolute GOAT, Knight Artorias, the Abyss Walker. Holy shit, where do I even begin? I have a statue of this guy in my room. That is how much I love Artorias. The lore for this fight, amazing, bro. I never thought that I would be getting into so much lore for this, and then boom, I'm 10 Vadi-Vidya videos deep in the Artorias lore. This fight is so cool, and I see every time Artorias can't catch a dub in this community, bro. Like, everyone likes him, but he's never number 1. He's always number 2 best boss here. I rarely see him at number 1, but I finally gotta give my boy the respect he deserves. This is by far my favorite fight in Dark Souls 1, and it's just, for me, he was built up so early. Like, my friend early on, because he wanted to help me because I sucked ass, he told me to get the wolf ring, and then he's like, oh, this is Artorias' ring, bro. He's a really cool guy. You'll see him at some point. And I was like, okay, well, Artorias is kind of helping me out because the wolf ring is broken. And then I saw his wolf, and I'm like, damn, I always wanted a pet great wolf. That's cool. Yeah, this Artorias guy is a wolf too. And then, you know, he let me into the abyss with his other ring. And then finally, I travel back in time to see this Knight of Gwyn in action right when he's being taken over by the abyss, bro. In that opening cutscene where he goes insane and throws a body at you off his sword, and you're like, damn, I kind of see why everyone was glazing this guy the whole game, because he is him, bro. This guy is fighting you with his sword in his less dominant hand and without his shield. Like, he's going mad and he's still insane, bro. This guy's doing backflips mid-fight trying to hit you. He has the buff, you can cancel it. It's by far like my favorite fight, because it's like actual gameplay fight. There's so many mechanics. He looks so cool. You're in a huge coliseum in the middle of this beautiful forest. I love absolutely everything about it. And for me, my all-time Dark Souls 1 favorite, and one of my favorite bosses in games, period, we have the Wolf Knight himself, Artorias of the Abyss, taking home the top spot. And that is all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably end up doing the same thing for Dark Souls 2, 3, FromSoft games, you know, the rest of them. Really had fun making this video. Getting to replay the good old Dark Souls 1 was a blast. And please comment what your guys' favorite bosses from this game are. I know there's some that I think are super underrated, like Four Kings and whatnot, that no one really talks about. So tell me what you guys like from this thing. And if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, and Artorias of the Abyss, backflip that subscribe button, you know what I'm saying. But that's about it. I'll probably do one for Dark Souls 2 again. Yeah, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good night.